Hello, and welcome to just our final video showcase for the mods of the 2021 Morrowind May Modathon Month modding competition. Our 7th annual competition that took place between May 1st and June 1st of this year. 236 mods were submitted for that competition, and today we are finally going to be taking a look at the top 20 of those mods with the winners of each category, and also the runners-up. So that means that we're taking a look at the top 2 mods for everything from best dungeons, best gameplay, best graphics, best town mods, best player homes, best quests, and, you know, just everything in between. And this video has been in production for a really, really long time. I mean, obviously, it isn't May anymore. It's almost the end of the year. It's just, you know, it takes a really, really long time to actually go through and record just 20 mods in a video like this. But anyway, we've got a lot to cover here today, so we'd better just go ahead and jump right in. But real quick, I do have a couple things I want to note. If one of your mods is featured in this video and you were not contacted about your prizes, do let me know. I may have missed a few people. I tried to send out the game prizes to everyone who won, but again, I might have missed a few people, so if you're one of them, just, you know, let me know down below, or, you know, message me on the Nexus or Discord, and we'll try and sort that out. But anyway, as always, down links and timestamps are just down below, and just real quick, I would just like to take a moment to thank the modding community for just another amazing modding competition. At one time, the thought that a nearly 20-year-old game would still be getting over 200 new mod releases in a single month, it would have just been completely inconceivable. But thanks to our just utterly tireless and enthusiastic community, it's almost become routine. Just thank you just to all the modders out there for keeping Morrowind alive. Without you, there would be no Morrowind modding showcases, and you guys and gals and imbies are just the reason why we're all here. But with that said, let's just begin with our first category here, and we're going to start out with one of my favorite categories, dungeon mods. This was an extremely competitive category with just a number of amazing new mod releases from the Modathon. But our best dungeon mod is none other than ReadMe, Library Vivec Overhaul by Epilogue, with Justice for Khartag by Duodinamico in the runner-up position. Now, if you've already seen our previous videos on Epilogue's Library Vivec Overhaul, you already know how I feel about this amazing mod. It is everything that a dungeon mod should be. It has grand, epic adventures, deep, dark, cavernous chambers, deep below the surface of Nirn, ancient buried ruins, catacombs, intensely detailed dungeon environments, with lots and lots of environmental storytelling, underground lakes and rivers, and dangerous lava-flooded passageways, and most importantly of all, tons and tons of just utterly beautiful, excellent verticality. This was one of the best dungeon mods I've ever played for Morrowind, and the quality of these new dungeons just cannot be understated. These are quite literally dungeons on par with those found in Skyrim. And no, I'm not one of those Morrowind elitists that think that Morrowind did everything better than Skyrim. When it comes to dungeons, Skyrim clearly had better, designed dungeon environments. Though it does, fall a bit behind Morrowind when it comes to looting mechanics. Morrowind's hand-placed looting system is just leagues better than Skyrim's leveled loot. But, that's the only thing Morrowind does better when it comes to dungeons. Regardless, the dungeons here just could very well fit into Skyrim, only they naturally have Morrowind's hand-placed loot, with hidden artifacts and treasures just scattered throughout for you to find. And there's easily at least a few hours of dungeon delving content for you to play through. And also, a little unrelated, but this also includes an overhaul for the Library of Vivec, hence, the name. It's a really nice overhaul, even if the main focus of the content here is arguably the dungeon delving, quests, and adventures, but, minor detail. And not only is this our best dungeon mod of the 2021 Modathon, but I'd also go so far as to say that it's one of the best top 10 mods released for Morrowind so far this year. And given all that, you should really just, check it out for yourself. Real quick though, let's take a look at our runner-up, Justice for Khartag by Duo Dinamico. Now, this isn't technically a dungeon mod, but going by the Nexus categorization of mods, it does fit into the dungeon mod category. Anyway, this is a revamp and overhaul, for Khartag Point, a previously tiny little outcropping between the West Gash and Bitter Coast, just a bit north of Gunnar Mach, famous for being the resting place of a legendary Orcish warrior who apparently fell to his death. The vanilla game representation of Khartag Point was a rather just tiny boulder, completely at odds with the in-game description of this supposedly, precarious fall. You can see the USP article image here just for a comparison. This mod sprinkles just, a bit more of that verticality to Khartag Point, making it an epic location just far more worthy of fame, with the rebuilt Shrine of Boethia that now has just an excellent view of the Inner Sea, and of course the rebuilt mainland. While again, not a dungeon mod, this immersive overhaul has garnered just a lot of popularity for fixing a rather glaring oversight with the in-game lore. And, that's enough to make it our runner-up in our dungeon mods category. Next, we're taking a look at gameplay mods, and there were really just a ton of mods released in this category, about 67 to be exact. But there can only be one champion and, one best gameplay mod, and that is Stealth Improved by Mort, with Mantle of Ascension, a climbing mod by Vvardenfell, coming in the runner-up position. By far and away, one of the most broken aspects of the vanilla game, stealth and, sneaking around were basically just non-viable gameplay options in vanilla Morrowind. Due to the poorly thought-out mechanics. Something that was vastly improved in later games like Oblivion and Skyrim. But for the longest time, fans of stealth had basically no real options when it came to Morrowind. At least, until now. Stealth Improved is basically a complete and total revamp of how stealth works in the game, making it a more consistent gameplay option. So you won't just constantly be dropping in and out of stealth, as well as adding a new light-based sneaking mechanic, because, strangely enough, vanilla Morrowind's stealth wasn't actually based on light levels in the vanilla game. It didn't matter if it was bright as day or, dark as night. It had no effect on your sneaking mechanics. But now there's actually a light bar to indicate how visible you are to potential enemies, and this goes great hand in hand with the Midnight Oil and Dazzle Lights, two mods that were actually released for the 2020 Modathon. But anyway, stealth-based attacks are now just guaranteed to hit, and there's a full configuration menu with just a variety of options for you to tweak to your heart's content. It's little wonder that Stealth Improved has become one of the most popular mods to be released for the 2021 Modathon. Making a previously broken gameplay mechanic actually viable that is no small feat. And if you are even remotely interested in stealth gameplay, this mod is it is a must-have, and without question, this is a well-deserved winner of the Modathon. In the runner-up position, we have Mantle of Ascension, a climbing mod by Vvardenfell. And unlike Stealth Improved, Morrowind didn't really have any sort of climbing skill in the vanilla game, unlike its predecessor, Daggerfall. The only way to do anything climbing adjacent was, through acrobatics or levitation, and that was it. But Mantle of Ascension brings back the climbing mechanics of Daggerfall, adding a new skill to the game that you can level up like any other skill, allowing you to climb up vertical or near vertical walls, hills, gates, and towers. This won't allow you to scale massive, straight, vertical distances, but, it will allow you to basically perform parkour, going from one ledge to the next, or otherwise, navigating up short walls and gates without completely, blocking your progress. And this is particularly handy for getting around and navigating through Morrowind, especially considering Morrowind's sometimes janky terrain. It adds a lot of potential for getting around urban environments, and could well be used by a thief to access some otherwise hard to get to doors without, having to use a levitation potion. It's honestly just a really neat and fun mod to play around with that adds an extremely useful skill to the game, and all that makes it our runner-up for the best gameplay mod of the 2021 Modathon. Coming up on our next category, we have graphics, audio, and animation mods. And with 24 mod releases, this was the third largest category for new mods from the 2021 Modathon. But of course, only one can be the winner, and our champion mod is none other than Character Sounds Overhaul by Innumeral21, with I Lava, a good mesh replacer by Melkor Dog in the runner-up position. And as you can probably tell just by the name, Character Sounds Overhaul is, in fact, an audio mod, one that enhances the character sounds, such as the creaks and clanks of armor, weapons, walking, running, and adds little audio cues to a variety of interactions, such as shopping and handling items and getting journal updates. It's a pretty neat companion piece to Aura, an environmental audio overhaul mod that covers outdoor and indoor audio effects, as well as just a host of other features, which was released for the 2020 Modathon last year. It's really hard to overstate just how big of an impact this has on the game world of Morrowind. The different sounds for walking around in armor, the new weapon impact sounds, the sound your boots make when walking on different kinds of terrain. It is a massive, massive immersive quality that was missing in the vanilla game, and now this only serves to enhance your experience. But of course, let's just listen to some audio samples real quick. Now, without question, Character Sounds Overhaul it is a fantastic mod. And it's one of the most popular mods of the 2021 Modathon, and not only that, but just this entire year in general. And with good reason. It basically transforms the entire game. And if you want to check out some more examples of this mod in action, Numeral 21 has a showcase video, just linked right down below. And I would really, really highly recommend giving this mod a try. It is simply a fantastic atmospheric and immersive audio experience. In the runner-up spot, we've got I Lava, a good mesh replacer by Melchior Dog, and who doesn't love a good pun replacer too? Sort of a mix between an actual graphics replacer and a fixing / patching up of the game's original lava meshes. I Lava, a good mesh replacer, as you might expect, replaces all the lava meshes in Morrowind, and it notably fixes those lava meshes to eliminate visible seams and, large lava pools, and removes alpha blending to get rid of just the flickering issues that they had in the past. In addition to those fixes, it also adds particle effects that will occasionally pop off, with fiery little flecks just jumping up from the lava's surface, which is really just kind of delightful. But anyway, without question, this was the most popular, specifically graphics-related mod to be released during the Modathon. And it certainly has a rather mesmerizing quality to it. Just another vast improvement over the game's dated vanilla meshes, and compatible with just most other, texture replacers out there to ensure a vastly more scenic lava experience. If it weren't for CSO, this would have been our winning mod in the graphics and audio category, but, as it is, it's still just a really impressive and pleasing addition to the game. For our next category, we have Immersion mods, just an ever-popular category with 18 entries released during the Modathon, and our winning mod was none other than Skoomaesthesia by Millord and Xerofox, with Know Thy Ancestors by Xerofox as the runner-up, and certainly it seems like Xerofox just kind of dominated this category, doesn't it? But anyway, Skoomaesthesia was a almost last-minute entry for the Modathon, but despite that, it still ended up being just the most popular immersion mod released during the entire competition, and it's pretty easy to see why, providing a complete visual and gameplay overhaul for how Skooma works in the vanilla game. Skoomaesthesia just adds a lot to the functionality and graphical components of using Skooma, including new animations for smoking Skooma, new addiction mechanics that can have health and attribute consequences, and easily the highlight of the mod, psychedelic hallucinations that color the world in just a vibrant ecstasy of shimmering color and sound. There's just something really rather extraordinary about walking around Morrowind under a Skooma-based hallucination, as you sway back and forth to the colors expanding your horizon. It is simply a beautiful effect, and one that makes the risk of taking Skooma arguably worth it. But anyway, as I mentioned before, there are new animations for smoking Skooma with a Skooma pipe, including both first and third person animations, which is, just another excellent visual here. Overall, there's simply no question that Skoomaesthesia is a fantastic little, graphical and immersion mod, and one that's certainly worth adding to your game here. In our runner-up position, we have Know Thy Ancestors by Xerofox, a decidedly less vibrant mod, but one that nonetheless also makes a slight visual overhaul to the game here, namely in the form of adding banners to the various ancestral tombs around Morrowind. And basically, with this mod, You'll now find a banner above the entrance to each ancestral tomb, just with the name of the Dunmeri family that's buried there, clearly written in Daedric. The really impressive thing here is that this covers every ancestral tomb in Morrowind, giving each a unique banner, including the 90 or so tombs on Vvardenfell, and an add-on to cover just all the ancestral tombs on the Terran-built mainland. It's a fairly minor addition to be sure, but it's a neat little, just immersive detail for you to come across as you're delving through tombs and, robbing graves and all that. So if that's something you're looking for, this is an atmospheric, just, a little mod to check out here. Moving on to our fifth category, we've got new items, weapons, and armor mods. One of the largest categories from the 2021 Modathon, with 46 entries, but our winning mod was actually one of the first released, Olafs Best Cloaks in Town by Morrogoblins, followed by Killing Spree, Helluva Ways to Kill by Sandman, Danae, Cognatogen, and Danina. One of the first mods to be released for the 2021 Modathon, Olafs Best Cloaks in Town became just an instant hit, bringing just a variety of cloaks and hoods to the game that fit in fantastically well with the game's other existing clothing options. In total, this mod adds about 24 cloaks for you to purchase, perfect for thieves, assassins, or even mage-type characters, with a number designed to match the vanilla game robes. There's been a few attempts over the years to bring cloaks and hoods to Morrowind, but Olaf's Best Cloaks in Town, it might just be the best looking one out there. And if you're a fan of all things just hoods and cloaks related, you should absolutely check this one out. Going on though, for our runner-up, we have the fittingly named Killing Spree, Helluva Ways to Kill by Sandman, Danae, Cognatogen, and Danina. A modern remake of the Helluva mods, Killing Spree, just does away with all the outdated and ugly weapons from the original, Helluva mods, and it fixes up the missing textures and icons from the original release, revamps the leveled list, and hand places the most powerful artifacts, so, you won't run into a bunch of duplicates. And not to mention, it comes with awares-based support, and overall, Killing Spree adds about 500 new weapons to the game, some of which you can find out in the wilderness, or in town shops, while others will, require a bit of dungeon delving to find. And also worth noting, Killing Spree will automatically work with friends and foes, if you just, you happen to have that installed. Regardless, this is, without question, the largest collection of new weapons to be released in 2021, let alone the Modathon, and that was enough to just make it come in second place for, our items mod category. Next up, we're taking a look at our winning landscape and landmass mods, arguably the smallest category from the 2021 Modathon, with only 6 submitted entries, a tiny fraction of the over 230 mods from the entire event. Nonetheless, there were some notable releases here, and our winning mod is Graht Morrowind Swamp Trees by Melkor Dog and Xero Fox, followed by the Orsinium Project by the Orsinium team in the runner-up position. Now, if you've been watching the channel at all for the last 6 or 7 months, you've doubtless seen Graht Morrowind Swamp Trees multiple times before. It is, without question, one of my favorite mods from the Modathon. Just, the sheer verticality of this beautiful, beautiful mod is so utterly transformative of the Bitter Coast that I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it is absolutely spectacular. But if you, somehow, haven't heard of this mod before, let's real quick go over what it does. Graht Morrowind Swamp Trees is a landscape overhaul mod, adding these gigantic, towering, massive trees along the Bitter Coast, creating an almost jungle-like environment that, when combined with Valti's Bitter Coast mod and Aussie's ground cover, creates a dense layer of vegetation that you can just easily get lost in, making the Bitter Coast feel just like an all-new experience. And I really can't recommend this enough. Just combining these mods together is utterly amazing. Like, check out our, Bitter Coast 2021 modded Morrowind video for just an example of how the Bitter Coast can feel with these mods just all together. It really is amazing. This isn't just a tree mod though. Oh no. There's new locations and hidden spots for you to find in the great canopy above, as well as in the underbrush below, giving you just an unparalleled scenic vista of verticality to play through. It really is just, again, one of my favorite mods, and I absolutely cannot recommend it enough. It's little wonder it came in first place here. But anyway, in the runner-up spot, we have the Orsinium Project by the Orsinium team, an actual, landmass mod instead of a landscape overhaul. And this is basically one of Telshadow's numerous ambitious projects, this time around, geared towards building the famed city of orcs, Orsinium. This is technically a pre-alpha release, so there isn't actually that much content to experience, here just yet. Just the city itself that you can sort of wander through with some of the surrounding landscape. As a pre-alpha release, it does have, it has a few major issues. Regardless, there's a lot of interesting designs here, and without question, the Orsinium Project has just a lot of potential, a long ways from being complete or even really playable, but it definitely has the potential to be a really exciting project, should, development continue. Arguably, it's that potential that has made it, a runner-up in the landmass and landscape category, and it is certainly a mod to keep an eye on. Just continuing with our showcase here, our next category is NPC and creature mods, another relatively underused category from the competition, with only 11 submitted entries, but there were still some notable releases, including our winning mod, Sload Floater, Giant Bull Netch Replacer by Melkor Dog, and yes, Melkor has won quite a few of these categories. In the runner-up spot, we have CCM Guard Patrols and Quests by CCM. Now, Sload Floater is, it's a bit of a simple mod, really. It replaces exactly one creature in the game, the Giant Bull Netch from the Shulgorath quest, with a mixed concept art-based Sload Floater, or Gas Bag / Netch from Michael Kirkbride's original concept art. The design here is certainly unique, with giant eyes that are actually windows for would-be Sload passengers, pulsating tentacle-like things keeping this beast aloft, and banners just hanging off the side, showing that this Sload Floater has probably just escaped from captivity somewhere. The overall effect here is to make this one particular creature in this one particular quest actually unique. Though, I do think this new Sload Floater looks, particularly nice in the Bitter Coast region with the Graht Morrowind swamp trees, even though you won't actually see it anywhere outside the Shulgorad with this mod. But, regardless, this is certainly just a fascinating looking creature, and that was enough to make it our first place winning mod in the NPC and creature mods category. In the runner-up position, we have CCM, Guard Patrols, and Quests by CCM, and with a name like that, you can probably figure out what this mod adds. Basically, CCM Guard Patrols adds, patrols to various spots and regions outside of towns and cities, with guards and soldiers from a variety of factions, just often depending on what's the closest settlement. This is kind of an immersion mod, as you'd certainly expect the roads and wilderness around towns and cities, especially in a fantasy world with dangerous wild creatures, to have some kind of regular patrols to help protect the citizenry and keep trade flowing on, popular trade routes. Sometimes you'll encounter a lone Imperial Legion officer just out patrolling a bog, or a short stretch of road, and at other times you'll come across a group of Helluva guards out hunting for a dangerous bandit, or a group of Ordinators keeping watch on the entrance to Vivec, and just interrogating everyone who comes through, because, they don't want anyone to feel welcome, obviously. Some of these guards have quests, and you can do things like, help with hunting that dangerous bandit, or deliver a missive with a wayward patrol. This is a pretty nice addition to the game. It's immersive, adds new content, and is fully compatible with other NPC mods like Friends and Foes. If you're looking for something in this vein, it's a pretty nice mod to check out here. Next up, we have our player home category, and this was a surprisingly unpopular category, with only 8 mods submitted, and that is a bit unusual considering just how popular house mods normally are. But anyway, still, there were some nice little player homes released during the Modathon, including our winning mod, the Cottage by Melchior Dark, and yes, that's the 3rd category in a row that Melchior has won. The odds certainly do seem to be stacked in his favor, don't they? But anyway, in the runner-up spot, we have Cozy Homes Vvardenfell by Captain Arbiter. We've covered the Cottage a fair bit in the past, but, it is certainly a player home worth revisiting. This aptly named mod adds a tiny little player home just outside of Nissus in the West Gash, a scenic abode with a completely unique design, perfectly suited to the isolated hinterlands of the West Gash. On the outside, you'll find a little garden and a path leading up from the road. And by the by, this is also just compatible with Rocky West Gash, and the two go just really, really well together. Like, it is just fantastic how well these two combine. But anyway, going inside, you'll find a very, very simple one-room abode, meant for the solitary hermit, including just the basic amenities of a bed, a little dining area, some storage, a fireplace, and a writing nook. It's truly a modest home, but nicely detailed and furnished, and the interior lighting actually changes depending on time of day, with a fireplace you can turn on and off. This is a lovely and cozy abode, and it's easy to see why it won in our player home category. It's certainly worth checking out if you just want a small home in the West Gash. In the runner-up spot, we have Cozy Homes Vvardenfell, a mod that adds 3 new player homes to the game, one in Balmora, one in Plesiad, and one in Aldrune, that you can buy for between 3,000 and 7,000 gold. Each of these are just simple abodes with basic exteriors that are occasionally in high conflict areas, but nonetheless, they have some just really cozy and well-finished interiors. These aren't massive mansions or anything like that. They're simple, ideal starter homes with just the simple basics: a place to rest, storage, a bit of dining space, and maybe some shelves for you to, throw your stuff on. It's a quaint and simple set of player homes that just, fit in well with their respective cities. And, well, that was enough to make it our runner-up in the player homes category. Coming up on one of my favorite categories, we have quest and faction mods, and this was a decidedly more popular category than player homes, with 19 submitted mods for the Modathon. That said, the actual results were pretty close, honestly, with Escort Caius by Zarya ultimately taking first place, but there were two other mods that were very, very close and actually tied for the runner-up spot, including more exclusive factions by Lucifer and Alice L93, and Epilogue, Sail to Akavir, also by Alice L93. Escort Caius itself is a fairly straightforward mod. It adds an extra quest for you to do to send Caius off when he gets recalled back to the Imperial City. In the vanilla game, this was just a rather abrupt end to an NPC who basically acted as your mentor in Morrowind, and was one of the people that you were presumably the closest to. And now you'll get to escort him back to the Ebonheart docks to just see him off to the mainland, and you can even get him to wear a shirt. Though, why would you? The man has fantastic abs. They deserve to be seen. But, anyway, while you're escorting him, you can optionally stop by the Halfway Tavern in Pelesiad and just have a few drinks with your mentor and, do a little reminiscing before going on to Ebonheart. This is a really immersive and atmospheric little addition to Caius' character, and it's just a really nice and kind of sweet send-off with some, proper closure that was desperately needed in the vanilla game. Now, in the runner-up spot, there were two other mods that ended up in a tie, the first of which, as a counterpoint, or perhaps as an extension to Escort Caius, is Epilogue, Sail to Akavir by Alice L93. Basically, this is a quest mod that takes place after you've finished the game and defeated Dagoth and all that. You'll be requested for just one last Blades mission, killing a bunch of pirates in a vanilla game dungeon, and liberating a pirate ship for one last final mission. And here is where you'll find Caius, back from the capital, and here to request your help on a mission to Akavir, which, as you may recall, according to the later games, the Nerevar sailed for Akavir after the events of Morrowind. He'll tell you a bit about the Akaviri Dragon Guards and the origins of the Blades, and should you agree to sail with him, you'll need to gather provisions and recruit a few of your friends to come along, like Fargoth, or Anissa, or Ajira, and when you're ready to set sail, roll credits. This is a natural final ending to the game, for when you're ready to leave Tamriel behind and pursue destiny in Akavir. This is certainly a unique quest mod that gives you a way to finish your game when you're ready, and it's kind of a nice little encore finale to defeating Dagoth. But anyway, also in the runner-up spot, we have more exclusive factions by Lucifer and Alice L93, and like the name implies, this mod makes it so that factions are just a little more picky about who they let into their ranks. For example, now with this mod, you can't join both the Tribunal Temple and the Imperial Cult. I mean, they're competing faiths. Like, why would they let you in if you're a member of the other? Likewise, you can't join both the Imperial Legion and the Fighters Guild, because why would the Imperial Legion want their soldiers becoming mercenaries while they're still in the Legion, or recruiting mercenaries who might not be loyal? House Telvanni are suspicious of the Tribunal Temple, but otherwise, often won't really care too much. I mean, they're Telvanni, unless you're a high-ranking member of the Mages Guild, and likewise, the Mages Guild won't accept you if you're a high-ranking Telvanni. They have enough problems with Telvanni spies. They don't need any more. This is just, a neat little immersion mod for the game's factions that, adds a little realism to the recruiting practices of these various organizations. And if that's something that appeals to you, you might just want to check this mod out. Finally though, for our last major category, we have Town and City mods, and this was just another rather tiny category, with only 5 mods submitted, and it was pretty much entirely dominated by just one person. Our first place winning mod was Dallara Balmora by Dallara 1000, with Better Imperial Forts also by Dallara 1000 in the runner-up position. This was unquestionably a Dallara category, to say the least. Starting with Dallara Balmora, this was quite possibly the most eye-catching mod of the 2021 Modathon, featuring an absolutely breathtaking and a beautiful overhaul and expansion of Balmora, with just lots and lots of new additions added just throughout the city, with new guard towers, gates, and expanded walls just along the city's perimeter, new houses and shops in various parts of the city, lots and lots of atmospheric lighting and streetlights, colourful balcony awnings and gardens, new covered bridges, a new set of tiered farms by the temple, and more distinct separation of the various city districts, particularly the upper class district, which has its own set of walls. This is certainly one of the more unique and scenic overhaul mods for Balmora, but of course, all that beauty does come at a cost, as the FPS hit here is just absolutely massive, with my FPS typically ranging in the 17 to 20 range. Still, if you got just a really beefy just PC, this is an exciting and visually thrilling redesign for Balmora to just add to your game here. But going on, for the runner-up position, we have Better Imperial Forts by Dallara 1000, a mod which, like Dallara Balmora, basically goes through and overhauls and or expands all the Imperial forts in the the entire vanilla game. From Ebonheart to Fort Moonmoth, Fort Buckmoth, Wolverine Hall, Fort Darius, and Fort Frostmoth. These are modular, so you can pick and choose which forts you want to install, and each just look absolutely amazing, especially compared to the square, blockish Imperial forts of the vanilla game. With tall, imposing walls, animated drawbridges and gates, massive verticality-inducing towers, which, by the way, have interiors in the exterior wall space, and just a number of defenses to repel invaders. Better Imperial Forts is, without question, the best-looking set of overhauls for the Imperial Forts in Morrowind, and really, it's no wonder that Dallara 1000 just dominated this category with mods like this. These are just absolutely breathtaking. Now, before we go, there is just one more minor category I want to mention here, the Modder's Resource category. Perhaps not the most exciting category for players, but there were still 10 mods submitted for this particular category, including our winning resource, Wares for Mods by Danae, with JC's Vector Icons by JCS in the runner-up spot. We can't actually showcase JCS's mod because, it's a bit difficult to record, but Wares for Mods is basically a kind of, a leveled list resource manager, providing an easy way to integrate new items to Morrowind, Terry Built, Friends and Foes, and just any other mod that uses the Wares system. Basically, this takes a lot of the work out of having to go through and update or edit just a bunch of different leveled lists. Now, with the Wares system, you just have to update a few conveniently labeled leveled lists with the new items you want to appear, and they'll automatically be added to all the relevant containers, traders, and or NPCs. It makes merging new items into the game just a lot easier without all the hassle of editing vanilla containers, leveled lists, or having to make separate patches for Terry Build. And there's already quite a few mods using the system, so it's a little surprise it was our first place winner here. But anyway, that's pretty much it for today. As always, down links are just right down below. And real quick, I would just like to thank our patrons for making this video possible. We couldn't be making these videos without you. Special thanks goes to Area 5/Sunbalmean, Billy Fighter, Kiwi, Cyprinius, Danae, Daliant, Danina, Yame Alcazo Castornau, Julian, Langastier, Macbone, Melchior Dog, Michael, Mr. the Joshman, Null Cascade, Old Navy Twidget, Operator Jack, Porcuse, Povuholo, Raven Talon, Rissalith, Shadow Banish Wine, Shuda, Circuit Cat, Stiff Kitten, Talvani with 1,000 nicknames, and a 2-timing Trauma Root. If you'd like to join them, check out our rewards, including early access, behind-the-scenes content, and access to polls to decide what kind of content we showcase. Visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/MorrowindModding. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, happy modding, and I'll see you all next time.